Muina Kwaba at the bank as activity for. So then we need the Greater Accra Regional. A honum I butu papa IT for Anya Semketua. Na ye regulation results for Ekosui. I say Kunsumbi Ekosu underground am IT for. Here is officers in person motility numbers in favor of NPP Amanuku. The business hasn't motility the favor in favor of NDC Amanuku. Tama aye busu honum. Now that when you question do make cabinet for mobile papa anya sem kitwa. Amachi is officer bako for anya sem kitwa na pink sheet na the idea honum for of fabricate pink sheet no. Na people no e time no so who kon wa kutuma akwohwe. For sasa bibia in favor of NPP MP or Honor friend Michael Quaye Jr. The team for SMP could see some team for Elcos or Honor Mandamus.
Whatever you claim you had left off, you had petitioned your principals in Accra and said it was a process that was fraught with irregularities. So he actually used the language that it should be annulled. Then they give you the opportunity, then you come and tell me that where we were, those two pensions that we were resisting, those are the pensions you want to add. You are not interested in going back because you see, they had also fabricated some. So the conduct, today I want to speak to conduct of public officers. When you are a public officer, that is just be a public officer. If you want to be partial, if you don't want to be neutral, if you don't want to be a public officer, leave the job. Go and be a party executive and come and do party work. Be a party full soldier. Let everybody know that you are a party full soldier. Or be a farmer like my brother who is now a businessman. You are a businessman as well.
Okay.
But to be wearing EC jacket, when it's used them, then they quote the Constitution and says that in the performance of their functions, they are independent. But in your utterances, you are not portraying that independence. You are portraying bias. When you wear EC jacket, that should portray you as a neutral, independent operator. Your comments do not reflect the content of the garb you put on.
So, but why did the trial judge in the High Court, that's in the first case when the Mandamus was heard last week Friday,
yes,
why did he not give the NDC a hearing?
That is a question for the gods to answer.
I'm asking you.
You heard the judge, the Supreme Court, the president of the panel, said that to allow Eduji to speak in his capacity as a friend of the court was not coterminous to giving him the opportunity to represent his clients. The two standings were markedly different.
And the trial judge thought that because Eduji had spoken,
and the Supreme Court did something very important. They noted that in the ruling of the court or in the court proceedings brought before them, they noted that the judge actually recorded Eduji as a friend of the court. That was his undoing. That was the judge's undoing in this matter. That was where the Supreme Court nailed him.
And if he's a friend of the court, then
I can also appear as a friend of the court. But he was supposing to him that we are here on merit. We will have an application before you.
But I think there was an application for joinder.
Yes. Yes. So the judge indicated that yes, I have been informed.
In the case where there was an application for joinder,
yes,
rightly before the judge, he couldn't have come as an amicus.
Exactly. So that's why the Supreme Court got him.
Judge record him as a friend of the court?
That is what I...
Because, you see, the application before him, that's Gary Marcus' application, his clients were not named as parties.
They came as party. But as being a proactive lawyer, when you hear things like that, you can actually... Because, you see, the notice, when he says something is on notice to you, is to give you notice. So you can take proactive steps. That I hear there's an ex parte application, but indeed, Quaye actually said that in matters such as this, even the court, Suomotu, ought to have directed that let the application ex parte be actually served.
An important history fact. Do you remember the
Yes.
2008 election? NPP went ex parte.
On one Sunday.
One Sunday. So the NDC got wind of it
and we went
to the court. Hey, if NDC had not gone there, I thought I wanted court on time.
You know, so these are serious matters. Let me
a quick input from yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It is an addition to a court procedure that ought to inform all courts. In matters like this, it is important that the Judge Somoto ought to have made an order for them to come on notice. And it happens most of the time when you see that there is an interest in the case that is not represented in the matter pursuant to the application.
It's only fair.
It wasn't fair. And by law, or the author, that, oh, please, can you come on notice on this one so that the other party will also be heard. If you came as party, then the explanation is that even the EC, who was a defendant in that matter, a respondent in that matter, had not been served. You see, and in fact,
AC said they are not opposed. They were playing along.
They had not been served if it was an ex-party application.
But they indicated that they were not opposed to it.
But if it was an ex-party application, so to speak, then one would say that the EC would not be served in an ex-party application. Okay. Nevertheless, the judge ought to have directed that you come on notice. And in any case, Mandamus' application will not be ripe until they have been served with written communication that you have reneged on this statutory duty and you are by law required to do, and the public institution fails to respond to your warning. It is then that Mandamus' application become ripe.
Yeah, right.
I don't know whether on record all such communication had been shown.
Now, in addition to what Andy had just submitted, you will see that if you look at the application, the exhibits attached to the affidavits in support, you will see letters from these respective applicants. All of them wrote to the EC demanding that they perform this statutory duty.
Okay.
Right.
Now let me. So, for instance, Eric Nana Juma Prempe wrote. He wrote. Is dated 16th December. 16th December. Now the question is, when did you send this to the EC? Said that the next day you were in court. You understand?
Okay.
Now Charles Forson didn't date his letter, but he also came to court. So they all came to court the same day. But as to the point Andy made that a formal demand was made on a public officer to perform his duty under law or perform a public duty, and yet he failed. So this is the most central matter. When we came before the regional coalition, we demanded that the proper thing be done in law. He won't have it. He had come with an agenda. He had come to insist that those two corrupt pinches be added. Then he was to declare. That was his agenda. He was not interested in what the court had done. The same applies to Baba Sadiq in his case, because they only added those 31 and declared. Because you recall some percentage argument that if 60% of the coalitions have been collated, then it can be declared. But there's no such authority in law. So clearly, I want to make the point that in ex parte Asare, the Supreme Court is very clear, and Justice Ansah made the point that where results have been declared, the appropriate forum for you is to petition. And the law provides petition. The process is the procedure to petition under Section 20 of